The application itself is now really simple. It takes you 2 or 3 hours to actually put the application in. From what I've seen, getting the pack in 2019 is also going to be really easy and simple. You need to put a lot of thought into what you're doing and where your options go, but that fits with farming decision making. So, you know, it's not something you can put a time limit to, your decision making process. The physical, getting hold of the pack and filling your application in is really simple.
So applications are form filling. You know, it takes time. I suppose my advice on filling in an application is, rather than trying to work it all out yourself, you wouldn't work out your pesticide campaign yourself. You'd get some advice. So again, with a CS application, my advice would be, have a chat with somebody who's been through the mill with this one, who's kind of got some experience of doing applications, how they can suit you, how they can develop to work for you. So have a chat with a wildlife advisor, have a chat with your agronomist or your agronomy company. They can probably help you on this one, and that will make it much quicker and make it much less stressful for you than having to try and work out which forms to fill and which boxes to tick. It will take time. You have to invest some time in doing it, but if you do it right, then it's worthwhile.
I think the more time you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. So if the wildlife offers are the way to go, then they can be completed in a few hours on the farm. But if you want a really fully developed mid-tier countryside stewardship agreement, then I think it's worth putting in several days of work really to weigh up the different options, consider different opportunities and work through the different ideas or priorities or habitats for the farm. So it does vary depending on the application and what you're looking to achieve.
I think it's the hardest part of the whole process, to be honest. It's quite a change from the old system, so from the old ELSs and HLSs, which farmers might have been in for quite a long time. The actual paperwork, when it comes down to it, depending on the size of your farm and the complexity of the options that you're choosing, the actual paperwork might be just a matter of a day or a few days. But thinking about the whole process from scratch through to submitting your application, we really encourage people to take a long time over it. So over a period of a few months really, because it's getting your head around the detail in the prescriptions and the rules for the options, how that fits with your farm and things like that. So whilst the actual nuts and bolts of it might only take a few days, we really encourage, I think that people should spread the whole process out over a few months.
Very variable, depends on the individual, the farming business, the scale and scope of it. I would argue with the new simplified offers, somebody who knows their farm well and knows their requirements could do it relatively quickly online, going right the way through to a mid or a higher tier where obviously it could be more complex with triple SIs and scheduled monuments, etc. So as a guideline, I'm saying anything from maybe 3 to 4 hours online for a simplified through to several days or possibly weeks for a more complex scheme.
Definitely with this latest round of mid-tier stewardship, that's increased. There's quite a lot of upfront work to be done. I think for the sort of average farm around here, it's at least 2 days. It depends how much the farmer wants to put in themselves or is able to put in themselves, what skills they've got, or how much time for an agent they're wanting to have. And obviously there's a cost to that, because obviously there's, working out, there's 80 odd options to choose from. They need to sort of work their way through that, decide which ones for the annual options, and then there's the capital options as well. So there's quite a lot of upfront thinking about what you want to take on and what's suitable and appropriate for your farm. And then there's actually putting together the application and gathering the evidence. So yeah, there's a big time commitment up front.